Chapter 14 of the Bhagavad Gita, Gunatraya Vibhag Yoga, the yoga of the differentiation of the three modes. So in the 13th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, God explained Kshetra Kshetragna Vibhag Yoga, the yoga of the distinction between the field and the know of the field. The root principle of spirituality was made clear in that chapter, that we are not the Kshetra, the field, but we are the Kshetragna, the knower of the field. The body is a Kshetra, field, but we are the Kshetragna, the knower of the field. The body is a Kshetra, field, and if it's the biggest mistake of all by human beings, is that they consider themselves to be the Kshetra, the field, and they consider themselves to be the body. And the moment we believe that we're the body, then all our difficulties and pains begin. The Supreme Soul is a Kshetragna, the knower of the field, and we are part of the Supreme Soul, the same Supreme Soul. We are also the Kshetragna, the knower of the field, and we are residing inside the body. And God resides equally in each and every being. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu. It is not as if the Supreme Soul is more in one person and less in another person. It is said in the Ramayana that Hari Vyapak Sarvatya Samana. Hari, i.e. God, pervades each and everything equally. God is all-pervading, and God is equal in all beings. There is as much of God in an ant as there is in an elephant. And this truth, with a capital T, is the truth of the Kshetragna, the knower of the field. There are differences between Kshetra, fields. A small child may have a small body, and our body may be 5.5 or 6 feet tall. Someone else may have a 7-foot tall body. The weight of a child may be 7 pounds, and somebody else's weight may be 70 kilograms. There can be differences between the Kshetras, the fields, the bodies, but there is never a difference between the Kshetragna, the knower of the field. And if there is a supreme secret of life, then it is to get an experience of the Kshetragna, the knower of the field. If there was one supreme bliss, then it is joining oneself with the Kshetragna, the knower of the field, and experiencing the Kshetragna, the knower of the field. In the last verse of the last chapter, the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, God said, Kshetragra Kshetragna evam antaram gnana chaksha bhuta parikramasham cha ye vidur yanti te param. Those who perceive thus, by their eye of wisdom, the distinction between the field and the knower of the field, and the deliverance of beings from nature, prakriti, they attain to the Supreme. Then the question arises in our minds that, Lord, what is this eye of wisdom that you're describing? I said in the last chapter that God spoke about 3 eyes. The first is the Charma Chakshu, the self-eye. Shri Krishna said in the 8th verse of the 11th chapter of the Gita that Natu mam shakyuse drashtum anena eva shakyusha divyam dadami che chakshu pasya me yogam eshvaryam. But you cannot behold me with this human eye of yours. I'll bestow on you the supernatural eye. Behold my divine power. The Divya Chakshu, the divine eye, was given to Arjun in the 11th chapter. Then Shri Krishna spoke about bhakti devotion in the 12th chapter, and then in the 13th chapter, God spoke about Gnan Chakshu, the eye of wisdom. Therefore, the 3 eyes are the Charma Chakshu, the self-eye, the Divya Chakshu, the divine eye, and the Gnan Chakshu, the eye of wisdom. God says that with the Gnan Chakshu, the eye of wisdom, one can see the differences between the Kshetra, the fields, and the Kshetragna, the knower of the field, the difference between the body and Brahman, and the difference between the body and the soul. Then it is very natural that the question arises that God, how can we attain the Gnan Chakshu, the eye of wisdom? What is this Gnan wisdom? How can one attain this Gnan wisdom? For this, God has said this 14th chapter of the Gita. One thing is clear, that we wish to attain liberation from bondages. We want liberation. There are 2 types of bondages. The first is the bondage of Prakriti, nature, and the second is the bondage of the activity of Prakriti, nature, in the form of the modes of nature. We will see what the modes of nature are, and God speaks about them in the whole of the 14th chapter. But there are 2 bondages, one to Prakriti, nature, and the other to activity of Prakriti, nature, in the form of the modes of nature. In the 13th chapter, it was spoken about how one can become free from bondages of Prakriti, nature. Brahman was described in the 13th chapter, and it was said that if a person experiences one with Brahman, then they automatically become free from Prakriti, nature, because they know that I am not Prakriti, I am the Supreme Soul. The 13th chapter spoke about how one can become free from the bondages of Prakriti, nature, and now in the 14th chapter, Shri Krishna is going to speak about how one can become free from the activities of Prakriti. There are the three modes of nature. If you look at the 14th chapter, then in one way it's very short. There are 27 verses, and it is not very long. It's a very short chapter. What are the main subjects of the 14th chapter? In the 26th verse of the 13th chapter, God said that Yavat samyade kimchit sattvam stava vajanam shetra shetragna samyogat tadvidi bharatarshabha. Whatever being is born, moving or unmoving, know you, or best of the Bharatas, Arjun, that it is sprung through the union of the field and the know of the field. And then, in the 21st verse of the same 13th chapter, God said that Karanam guna sango asya sada sadayoni janmasu. Attachment to the modes is a cause of births in good and evil wombs. Then it is natural that the question arises that God, you're saying that when attachment towards the modes of nature arises, and when a person becomes stuck in the modes of nature, then according to that it is determined whether they are born in good or evil wombs. Then God, what are these modes? What are these modes of nature? Shri Krishna speaks about this in the 14th chapter. God speaks about four main topics in this 14th chapter. The first is, in what way and on whose support does Prakriti, nature, give birth to all creatures? This is the first question. This is because on its own, Prakriti, nature, is useless. Prakriti cannot do anything on its own. On whose support and how does Prakriti, nature, give birth to the whole world, including all creatures? This is the first question. The second question is, what are the modes of Prakriti, and how do these modes cause bondage for a person? This is spoken about. The third thing is, what is the solution to become free from the modes of Prakriti? And the fourth thing is a very important topic, that what are the qualities of those people who have become liberated from the modes of Prakriti and who have attained the state of becoming free from the modes? At the end of the second chapter of the Gita, God spoke about the qualities of a Sthitaprajna, if you remember, a person settled in intelligence. In the 13th to 19th verses of the 12th chapter, God spoke about the qualities of a devotee, and in the 13th chapter, God described Gnan, wisdom, and its qualities such as Amanitvam, Abhanvitvam, Ahimsa, Shantir, Arjavam, Acharyopasanam, Shocham, Theriam, Atma, Vinigraha. Humility, absence of pride. Integrity, absence of deceit. Non-violence, patience, uprightness, service of the teacher, purity of body and mind, steadfastness, and self-control. In the same way, in the 14th chapter, God describes the qualities of one who has transgressed beyond the modes of nature that are sattva, goodness, rajas, passion, and tamas, dullness. Such is the 14th chapter of the Gita. I once read about something very beautiful, that each and every chapter of the Gita are all different doors to enter into one palace. And Shri Krishna keeps opening each and every door, but somehow or the other, Arjun is either saying no to enter inside that door, he does not understand, there's still a question in his mind, and such things keep happening. And Shri Krishna understands that Arjun is not ready to enter, and Shri Krishna says it does not matter. The more that the pupil fails, then the more that the Guru's courage and patience increases. That thing that is extremely clear for Shri Krishna is that Arjun should go to war. Shri Krishna had described the same thing to Arjun in 18 chapters, and to describe that thing in 700 verses. If Arjun were to understand this, then the matter should have been finished in the second and third verses of the second chapter, which were Kutasva Kashmalam idam, Vishame Sambupyoshitam, Ananya Jajustam Aswargam, Akirtikaranam Arjuna, Klebyam Masma Gama Partha, Ne Atatvai Upadyate, Shudaram Hridayam Balyam, Tvaktva Atishta Paramtapa. Krishna told Arjun, whence has come to you this stain, this dejection of spirit in this hour of crisis? It is unknown to men of noble mind, not cherished by the Aryans. It does not lead to heaven on earth, it causes disgrace, O Arjun. Yield not to this unmanliness, O Partha, for it does not become you. Cast off this petty faint-heartedness, and arise, O oppressor of foes. The matter is finished, and what further has Shri Krishna got to say than this to Arjun? Shri Krishna tells Arjun to cast off his petty faint-heartedness, because what Arjun is thinking in his mind in these adverse circumstances and this dejection of spirit does not suit Arjun, and it does not befit Arjun. Shri Krishna tells Arjun to arise and go to war. What Shri Krishna said was true, but Arjun did not get ready for battle. Then from the 11th verse of the 2nd chapter, Shri Krishna began opening one door after another. This always happens in the relationship between the guru and the pupil. In the first verse of this chapter, Shri Krishna says, Param bhuya pravakshami. I shall again declare that supreme wisdom. Shri Krishna is saying it again, but why does the need for saying it again arise? Shri Krishna admits that he's saying it again. Why is Shri Krishna saying it again? The very meaning of this is that Arjun has not accepted what has been said before. And there is only one proof of accepting, and that is that the person begins walking on this path. Whenever a person has understood or accepted any gnan, wisdom, then there is only one proof of it, when this person has begun walking on that path. There cannot be any other proof of this. When a person just nods their head or agrees by saying, yes, we agree, then the matter of gnan, wisdom, does not finish there. Where does gnan, wisdom, become digested? It is when one puts it into practice. Otherwise, gnan does not become digested, and it has not become digested because Arjun has not yet held the bow in his arms. Arjun is not yet ready, and that is why Shri Krishna says, Param bhuya pravakshami. I shall again declare that supreme wisdom. There is one beautiful thing in the relationship between the guru and the pupil. In reality, there is a constant conflict. And if we try to look at it very broadly, then every relationship is a conflict. Each and every relationship is a conflict. But the relationship of a guru and a pupil is a very special conflict. There's only one conflict. Arjun wants to do something, and Arjun says that he wants to leave the battlefield, whereas Shri Krishna is saying that Arjun should not do that. Isn't this a conflict? This is a conflict. Arjun wants to do one thing, and Shri Krishna wants him to do another. And not only that, but they're the diagonally opposite things. Arjun does not want to go to battle, and Shri Krishna tells him to go to battle. The relationship begins with this conflict. But it's a sweet conflict, and it's a beautiful conflict. And perhaps one needs a guru in such a situation where there's a conflict, and we cannot make the decision ourselves. Otherwise, if we can make a decision, then there is no need to surrender. No need to seek refuge, and no need for a guru. We would be ready to make a decision. Arjun is asking him to do something, and Shri Krishna is trying to heal something. This is because Arjun's ego was becoming stronger in him fleeing the battlefield, and his delusion and attachment towards his own people were becoming stronger. Shri Krishna is trying to destroy this delusion, egotism, and attachment towards Arjun's own people. A guru makes these efforts and keeps healing and healing and healing the pupil. And when the pupil becomes completely healed, then something great becomes awakened inside, and the pupil attains completeness. The pupil thinks that he should do something, show something, and demonstrate something so he can become something. And a guru says that everybody makes effort to become something, but the pupil should show something being healed, the pupil should become great, and the pupil should leave something. Only then will the pupil attain something, and only then will the pupil become something. And in this long conflict, what happens is that the pupil always wins at the beginning. Why have we reached the 14th chapter? The very reason why we've reached the 14th chapter is that until the 13th chapter, Shri Krishna has not been able to make Arjun understand. Another way of saying this is that Arjun has not understood, but because Arjun has not understood, this means that Shri Krishna has not been able to make Arjun understand, and Shri Krishna is losing. The guru loses at the beginning, and the pupil wins. The pupil goes ahead having won, the pupil is constantly winning, and in the end, the pupil loses. The guru is constantly losing, and in the end, the guru wins. This is a very sweet and beautiful thing in the relationship between the guru and the pupil. At the end of the 18th chapter, Arjun says to the Lord that Nashtomo smrti labda tatprasadan maya achyuta sito asmi gatam sera karishye vachanam dava. Destroyed is my delusion, and recognition has been gained by me through your grace, O Achyuta Krishna. I stand firm with my doubts dispelled. I shall act according to your word. The moment when Arjun said this, then this is Shri Krishna's victory. Garishye vachanam tava, the famous words. I shall act according to your word. In all the other chapters, Shri Krishna kept losing, and whenever Shri Krishna said something, then Arjun asked a question, then what about this? When Shri Krishna explained this, then Arjun asked another question, then what about this? Well, doubts kept arising in Arjun's mind. Shri Krishna was losing. But we should understand one thing further, that in the pupil winning, it is the pupil's failure, and in the guru's losing, it is the guru's success. When the guru is losing in front of the pupil, then they are climbing another step in their relationship. And only one thing is necessary for this: extreme patience on both sides. A lot of patience is needed by both. If a guru gets downhearted by his defeats, then the relationship breaks, and if a pupil becomes distracted by his victories, then the relationship breaks. If Arjun had said at the end of the 12th chapter that, God, this is fine, now let us leave the battlefield, you've said all of this and I do not agree, then what would have happened? The pupil should not get distracted by his victories, and the guru should not lose his patience by his defeats. When this happens, then the guru and the pupil reach the supreme place. And a lot of patience is necessary for this. And perhaps that is why the relationships between the gurus and pupils in ancient times were relationships for life. When somebody went to touch Swami Ramtev's feet, then Swami Ramtev would say, wait, do not touch them now. Stay with me for a week, 10 days or 15 days, listen to what I'm saying, and see my life. Then if you feel like it thereafter, then you can bow down, but you should bow down on one condition, that you will not lift yourself back up again. You should take as much time as you want before bowing down, and you can take as many examinations as you want, because I'm standing here. But be careful that when you bow down, then it is your decision, and then when you get up, then the detriment is yours. You should not get up. Saste mein sir jhuka, ab utma haram hai. Shri Krishna tells Arjun that Param Bhuya Pravakshami, I shall again declare that supreme wisdom. The very meaning of the fact that Shri Krishna is saying that Shri Krishna is that Shri Krishna is losing and Arjun is winning. This is a very beautiful thought, and you should think about this relationship of the guru and the people. I'm giving you this thought. In the first two verses, God describes the greatness of Gnan, wisdom, and Srimad Adi Shankaracharya Ji says that God has spoken about the greatness of Gnan, wisdom, to create eagerness and enthusiasm in the speaker. Let's go to the first verse. Shri